For today's video, I will be using Peace Token Black Label Octopus hooks in size 6/0, Yozuri fluorocarbon leader in 60-pound test, and I will be using my nail clippers to cut line and pliers to pull knots tight. This is how I tie my Snafu rig. I take my pre-cut 60-pound fluorocarbon leader and snell 2 hooks on it. If you need a better video for snelling hooks, I have one posted already, but basically I make a loop and lay the wraps about 6 to 8, tighten it down using my pliers, same for the other side. So again, through the eye, you make your loop, go around 6 to 8 times. If you'll see it in my other video, I call this the whip finish snell, and it helps, in my opinion, with the speed and just cleanliness of the snell. After you snell the 2 hooks on either end, pull them tight by linking them, and then you cut the tag ends off. Now, this is the regular Snafu where you just put the dropper loop in the middle. Later on in this video, I will show you the variation with the T-knot. But when I tie the regular dropper loop Snafu rig, I always put the hooks on first, and then here is where you would put the dropper loop. And so I like to keep the hooks together before I do it. And once you make your dropper, the hooks together help to keep the rig neat and even. And after I've tied my dropper loop, there you go. That's my finished Snafu rig. In this part of the video, I will tie the Snafu rig with the T-knot variation. Some people believe that this T-knot here helps to keep the Snafu stand out straighter from the main line. In order to do this, I will use, once again, a pre-cut piece of 60-pound fluorocarbon leader, 2 size 6/0 Peace Token Black Label hooks, and my clippers and my pliers. Different from the regular Snafu, for the T-knot variation, I actually like to tie the T-knot first. I think it's easier to do without hurting yourself, poking yourself with the hooks. And also, once you have the T-knot droppers pre-rigged, you can adjust the size accordingly depending on the conditions of the water. So in order to tie the T-knot, you want to take your piece of fluorocarbon or mono leader, half it, and then here you do a triple or quadruple surgeon's loop. Basically, it's an overhand that you keep putting through the loop 3-4 times. Because this one is a little short, I'll just do it 3 times. Put it through. You have the overhand 3 times. You want to wet it and pull it basically as tight as you can. And then here, this is where you tie the dropper loop. And in order to do that, most people know how to tie a dropper. And so before, when I tie the regular Snafu, I use the hooks to keep the 2 ends even. But here, since you have the surgeon's loop already, that'll help to show where the middle is. Now, when you tie this dropper, and you put the loop through the hole in the middle, the trick to getting a nice T is to keep that surgeon loop you created as close to the hole as possible. And once you do that, I'm gonna wet it, pull it tight. Once you do that, you'll see that the T is close. There we go. If you don't keep it close to the hole in the dropper, you'll end up with a gap here, and that kind of defeats the whole purpose of creating the T-knot. Now once you have the two ends, this is when I snell my hooks. So you take your first hook, take the leader, put it through the eye of the hook, make a loop, wrap it 6 to 8 times, pull it down, use your pliers to pull the tag end. Same with the other side. Six to 8 times. Make sure you get a good grip. You don't want to hurt yourself. And once you have the two hooks snelled on, link them, pull tight, cut your tag ends off, and you have your completed Snafu rig with the T-knot. In this part of the video, I will demonstrate how to tie my inline Snafu rig or the Slimfoo rig. Once again, I'm starting with a piece of cut fluorocarbon 60-pound leader, 2 octopus hooks, a pair of pliers, and a pair of nail clippers. So just like the first dropper, the first Snafu rig that I originally tied, for the Slimfoo rig, I start by snelling 2 hooks on either ends of the leader. Once again, there's a video showing this, so I'll do it rather quickly here, or as quick as I can. So there's one snell. There's a second snell. Link the 2 hooks together, pull down tight, and trim the tag ends. Now here's the difference between my rig and the Snafu rig. So the way I keep my 2 hooks in line or next to each other is along the leader here, I put a figure 8 on a bite. Bite is spelled B-I-G-H-T, and what bite means is just a loop. And to create that loop, this is the loop here that you would end up after you tie the figure 8. And the way you tie this, or the way I tie the figure 8, is you hold the 2 hooks together and you create a loop. Now, if I were just to put this tag end through the loop I created, that would create an overhand knot. You don't want to do that. And to get the figure 8, what you do is, once again, after you create the loop, you twist it one more time and you hold that tight. And when you put that twist in and you put the tag end through, you end up with that figure 8 there. And that's what you want to tighten down. So I'm going to lick it to moisten it. Pull it tight and make it tighter by putting it around the hooks. And once you have this, that you have that figure 8 on a bite, and I usually cut this on one end with a little slack just in case it tightens up on itself, and that right there is my whole Slimfoo rig. In this video, I will show how to attach your rig to the main line on your fishing setup. The first step I use is I double up the line for the portion that the rig will go on. I believe this adds strength to your completed setup. And the second step I do is I put a sinker on the bottom of the double loop that I've just created. I feel the tension from the sinker helps to create the connection and make it much easier to perform. The first thing I do is I create a loop in the double line I've created. So you have the loop there, and the loop on the rig, I slide over the loop I've created on the shock leader. Now, a little tip here, the knot that you have on the rig itself, you want it to be above the loop on the shock leader, not below. Because I feel if you tie it like this, when you're completed with the rig will shoot up and off the main line itself. So once again, you have the loop here. You take your loop from your rig, slide it pointing up, and then you take your rig and put it through the loop on the main line or the shock leader. Once you have that through, pull it all the way through, including the knot on your rig, and you tighten it down. Once you have that tightened like this, I like to switch hands because I'm a righty. You take your sinker, put it around the portion of the line above the knot, and pull down. And once you pull down, you tighten it up. But before you tighten it, you pull the sinker and the rig away from each other. You're gonna kind of hear a click there. And then you repeat that motion one more time. So the sinker goes up around the line above the knot, through the loop you've created, and there you go. And before you tighten it fully, pull the rig and the sinker apart and make it tight. Now once you do that, as you see, your rig will come up or come away from the loop or the main line. I hope this video helps you guys.